holding tight, can you see it? Streaming the truth live from where they decree it. Sylvia speaks, no filter, no buffer. Courtroom drama couldn't get any tougher.
When the gavel's first bang, to the witness stands tears. Sylvia's lens captures all your hopes and fears. Uploading justice one trial at a time. Tuning every moment, edges sublime.
Welcome to the Sylvia Show, oh yeah. She's got the inside scoop, don't you care? With every verdict, the suspense does grow. So hit subscribe, let's start the show. Welcome to the Sylvia Show, oh yeah. She's got the inside scoop, don't you care? With every verdict, the suspense does grow. So hit subscribe, let's start the show. Faces tell stories, the courtroom can't hide. Sylvia's insights cut through the divide. From jury talks to the lawyer's secret. In Sylvia's world, you know you'll need it. Behind the scenes where whispers are loud, her lens reveals the truth in the crowd. Courtroom secrets laid bare to see. Stay curious with Sylvia Spree. Every objection, every sharp retort, Sylvia's there to give you the report. Exclusive footage no one else can snag. From catchy headlines straight to the tag. Welcome to the Sylvia Show, oh yeah. She's got the inside scoop, don't you care? With every verdict, the suspense does grow. So hit subscribe, let's start the show. Welcome to the Sylvia Show, oh yeah. She's got the inside scoop, don't you care? With every verdict, the suspense does grow. So hit subscribe, let's start the show.
Faces tell.
Hey, hey everybody. Hello everyone. I'm getting ready to go ahead on and start the video, the footage from the court. But I just wanted to tell you guys, you're gonna see a scene in here where you're gonna see the court gets in disarray. Well, I was out there on my trial, my court situation, and there was a brawl in the hallway of the courtroom, y'all. There was a brawl, about 7 people on the ground fighting, and the security had to come and help. Oh my God, it was so scary. I started shaking like this because I thought those men was going to come after me. And then they came back for retaliation. At the end of the day, they had to hold us in the courtroom until everything was clear, because supposedly some people had guns and stuff. So it was crazy. But anyway, yeah, y'all. I was shaking like this. I was shaking. Everybody came back. But wait, you go see their face when court start. Okay, let me go ahead on and start this. All right, here we go. Yeah, it was crazy. Y'all ready? I got my watermark at the top corner there. You're welcome, Mr. Big Playboy. Yeah, I'm not going to say anything. I'm going to just go ahead and let this play. You guys, run my mouth. How's that? Is that okay? I put it like that.
You ready? All rise for the jury. You can sit down. Yeah, they're standing for you. Take your time. Apparently, there's back chairs by it or something. I'm not sure what's wrong with it. They warn everybody about them every time you come in. All right, is everybody as comfortable as you can be under these circumstances? Good. When we were talking before, and I'm going to give you an oath in just a minute that swears you in as a juror in this particular case, but you and I had an agreement that if you couldn't understand or hear somebody, including me, you'd let me know. That still goes even better now, more important now, because we're going to get into the presentation of the case. What we're going to do today, I'm going to administer the oath, and I have some preliminary instructions for you. It's just kind of an overview of where we're going, and then a few items of law that are of a preliminary nature. After that, the lawyers are going to be able to present their opening statements to you. That's not evidence. Evidence is, we're going to take a break after that. I'm going to let you go home. We think it'll last a couple of hours, an hour and a half, maybe. We'll get through as soon as we can. But after the lawyers not argue their case, but present their opening statements to you, I will let you go home for the evening. And then we'll meet back here in the morning to begin the presentation of evidence. And remember what I told you, the evidence comes in the form of testimony from people who take the stand and know something about the case. It might also consist of exhibits, tangible objects that might be introduced into evidence. There may be some in this case, I really don't know, but in any event, it's very important that you see everything that's presented and hear everybody who testifies and who makes argument in this case. So I need to have your commitment to me that you will let me know if you have difficulty hearing, and I will commit to you that I will make sure that you're accommodated as best I possibly can, okay? Another thing, I'll try to keep you in the box about an hour and 15 minutes to an hour and a half before I give you a break. That has seemed to work well for the several years I've been doing this, but if that becomes a problem for you, you let one of the bailiffs know or let me know, and we'll make an accommodation. We'll take a restroom break or a stretch your legs break or whatever you need. I don't want you sitting there uncomfortably trying to pay attention, but having to stretch your legs or go to the restroom or whatever it is you need to do. We have an agreement on that? Yes. All right. Then I will administer this oath that's specific to this case. You can remain seated if you want to, but raise your right hands for me. You shall well and truly try the issues formed upon this bill of indictment between the state of Georgia and Jacqueline Lee Johnson, who is charged with a violation of the oath of public officer and obstruction and hindering of a law enforcement officer, and a true verdict give. So help you God. Are you do so affirm? You put your hands down. And I'm going to now read the indictment as a part of my preliminary instructions to you. so that you will know specifically what it says. You've been sworn now in panel to try the case of the state of Georgia versus Jacqueline Lee Johnson. Ms. Johnson is charged in a 2-count indictment. I want you to fully understand that the indictment itself is not evidence at all. There is no evidentiary value in this document. This is the way that the defendant is told of what the charges are and the way the case gets into court. Through this indictment, Ms. Johnson has entered a not guilty plea. The indictment is not evidence, neither is the not guilty plea evidence. Evidence comes, as I told you, in the form of testimony and perhaps exhibits. The defendant is charged with a violation of certain laws of the state of Georgia. Once again, emphasize to you that the indictment, including every count therein and the plea of not guilty, are the legal procedures by which these criminal charges are brought against the defendant. The charges and the plea of not guilty are not evidence of guilt. You should not consider them as evidence or implication of guilt of any crime whatsoever. This defendant is presumed to be innocent until proven guilty. The defendant enters upon the trial of the case with what's called a presumption of innocence in her favor. And this presumption remains with the defendant until it's overcome by the state with evidence that is sufficient to convince you beyond a reasonable doubt that the defendant is guilty of the crime or crimes charged. No person shall be convicted of any crime unless and until each element of the crime is proven beyond a reasonable doubt. The burden of proof rests upon the state to prove every material allegation of the indictment and every essential element of the crimes charged beyond a reasonable doubt. However, the state is not required to prove the guilt of the accused beyond all doubt or to a mathematical certainty. A reasonable doubt means just what it says. It's a doubt of a fair-minded, impartial juror, honestly seeking the truth. It's a doubt based upon common sense and reason. It does not mean a vague or arbitrary doubt, but it's a doubt for which a reason can be given, arising from a consideration of the evidence, a lack of evidence, perhaps a conflict in the evidence, or any combination of those. There is no burden of proof on the defendant whatsoever, and the burden never shifts to the defendant to prove her innocence. If after giving consideration to all the facts and circumstances of this case, if your minds are wavering, unsettled, or unsatisfied, that is a doubt of the law, and you should acquit the defendant. But if no doubt exists in your minds about the guilt of the accused, you would be authorized then to convict the defendant. If the state fails to prove the defendant's guilt beyond a reasonable doubt, it would be your duty to acquit the defendant. Now, the specific charges read as follows. Count 1, in the name and behalf of the citizens of Georgia, do charge and accuse Jacqueline Lee Johnson with the offense of violation of oath of public office in violation of OCGA 1610-1. For that, the said accused in the county aforesaid, on or about February 23rd, 2020, while a public officer did willfully and intentionally violate the terms of her oath as prescribed by law, to wit, OCGA 1518-2, contrary to the laws of said state, the good order, peace, and dignity thereof. At all times relevant to this indictment, the accused was the district attorney of the Brunswick Judicial Circuit, a public officer. Said accused had previously taken the oath of district attorney on or about August the 12th of 2020. Said oath included the following language. I, Jackie Johnson, do swear or affirm that I will faithfully and impartially and without fear, favor, or affection discharge my duties as district attorney and will take only my lawful compensation. So help me God. It is alleged in the indictment that on or about February 23rd of 2020, said accused violated the above provision of her oath of district attorney by showing favor and affection to Gregory McMichael during the investigation into the shooting death of Ahmaud Arbery, thereby failing to discharge her duties as district attorney, to wit, said accused violated Article 1, Section 1, Paragraph 30 of the Georgia Constitution, a duty required by law, by failing to treat Ahmaud Arbery and his family fairly and with dignity when, after the shooting of Ahmaud Arbery, Said accused sought the assistance of Waycross Judicial Circuit District Attorney George E. Barnhill, and after disqualifying her office, recommended D.A. Barnhill to the Attorney General's office for appointment to the case prosecutor without disclosing that said accused had previously sought the assistance of D.A. Barnhill on this case. Count 2 charges the defendant, Jacqueline Lee Johnson, with the offense of obstruction and hindering a law enforcement officer, a violation of OCGA 161024. For that, the said accused in the county aforesaid on or about February 23rd, 2020, did knowingly and willfully hinder Stephanie Oliver and Stephen Lowry, law enforcement officers with Glenn County Police Department, in the lawful discharge of their official duties by directing that Travis McMichael should not be placed under arrest, contrary to the laws of said state, the good order, peace, and dignity thereof. Those are the specific allegations as contained in the indictment. Under our system, it's my duty as the trial judge to determine the law that applies to this case and to instruct you on that law. You are bound by those rules. I'm giving you some of those instructions now so that perhaps during the course of the trial, you might more completely understand some of the concepts that are being talked about. During the trial, I may be called upon to rule on motions or objections to evidence. I want you to fully understand that nothing I say in making these rulings or at any time during the trial is evidence and should not be considered as an indication by you that I have any leanings in this case whatsoever. My only interest in this case is to see that it is fairly tried according to the above law, to the laws of this state and the Constitution of the state of Georgia and the Constitution of the United States. Now, as expected, the lawyers serve as advocates for their particular clients, and they're duty-bound to represent them to the best of their ability. The lawyers also serve as officers of the court, and they are bound to follow applicable laws, trial procedure, and rules of evidence during the trial. If at any time a lawyer believes that some rule or procedure might be being violated, they may make motions regarding the violation, and some of those motions may need to be taken up outside your presence. It's not an indication that that lawyer, any lawyer, or the judge is trying to hide anything from you. It's simply a matter that under the rules of procedure that we follow, we must take those matters up outside your presence. And I am instructing you that if a lawyer makes a particular motion or moves to exclude you from the courtroom, you will not hold that, should not hold that, and under the law cannot hold that against that lawyer. Now, the trial procedure generally goes as follows. First, the lawyers are able to make their opening statements to you. That's often referred to as a roadmap. They tell you what they think the evidence is going to show. Bear in mind that what they tell you is not evidence. It's simply what they perceive the evidence is going to be. First, the state may present their opening statement to you, and then the defendant, if the defendant chooses, may make an opening statement. Bear in mind, the defendant in a case such as this is under no obligation to make any statement or to present any evidence, and the state has the burden of proof in all. After the opening statement, first the state and the defendant chooses who will present. You've heard us talk about evidence coming in the form of testimony. Tomorrow morning, first off, I'm going to ask the state to call its first witness, and I expect somebody to be at that back door ready to come in and testify in front of us. What in the world?
Yeah, this is when the fight was going on. I was out in the hallway. There was a brawl. There was a whole bunch of people fighting.
Y'all okay? I'm just waiting for whatever the heck that was too.
There was a whole bunch of people fighting, y'all. I was right there. They were fighting in
there
front
are
of me.
Collective minds. Y'all still okay? Opening statements this afternoon.
It had to do with,
Opening statements this
I'll tell you
afternoon.
after this.
Beginning of testimony tomorrow. The state will go first. The state has the burden of proof. After the state concludes its case, the defendant may, if the defendant chooses to, present evidence, and you'll hear witnesses or perhaps documents, things of that nature. After that, the lawyers get to argue their case to you, make their summations. You'll remember I said at the beginning, they get to tell you what they think the evidence has shown. At the end, they get to tell you what they think the evidence did show. Once again, though, what they say is not evidence. You form your own opinions based upon what you hear in this courtroom, not anything else. Not anything else. After they get to make their closing arguments to you, I will give you what I determine is the law that applies in this case. You are fact finders. I think I mentioned this to a couple of your panels the other day. There's a dispute about what the facts are here. And you are fact finders. You will find facts from the evidence that's produced to you. I will give you what the law is that you're to apply. And literally, by combining the facts you find to the law that I give you, you will reach a verdict. And I think the literal verdict of that, the literal meaning of that, is to speak the truth of the matter. That's what we want you to do. Speak the truth of the matter. That's all we're asking. All we're asking. You do have a very important role. It's your duty to determine the facts of the case, as I said, and apply the law that I'm going to give you. Evidence, by definition, is the means by which any fact that's put in issue is established or disproved. As I told you, it can consist of two things: testimony and exhibits. Testimony is that of someone who will take the witness stand and testify. Exhibits might be photographs, graphs, charts. I don't know. It's something that is tangible that you can hold in your hand and look at. Once again, the lawyers may object to the admission of some evidence. If that happens and I rule a certain way, let me assure you that is not because I favor one side or the other. It's because my understanding of the proper legal response to the objection is either to sustain it, which means I approve of the objection, or to overrule it, which means no, I don't approve of that objection. But whatever I rule, it's simply because it's my understanding of the law that it goes that way. It is not leaning one way or another at all. You must determine the believability of or credibility of the witnesses, and I know a lot of you were questioned about that. It's up for you to determine what witness or witnesses you will believe and which witness or witnesses you will not believe, if there are some you do not believe. In determining the credibility of witnesses, you may consider all the facts and circumstances of the case, the manner in which the witnesses testify, their interest or lack of interest in the case, their means and opportunity for knowing the facts about which they testify, the nature of the facts about which they testify, the probability or improbability of their testimony, and the occurrences about which they testify. You may also consider their personal credibility insofar as it may appear to you from the trial of the case. As the trier of fact, it is your duty to believe the witnesses whom you think are most believable. It is for you alone to determine what testimony you will believe and what testimony you will not believe, if in fact there is some that you do not believe. Look at the evidence with an open mind. All of you were asked if you were leaning either way. All of you committed to us that you were neutral, that you did not have leanings one way or the other, and that you would be able to give a fair shake. I think that was the word used, a fair shake, to both the state and the defendant. And that's all we're here for, both to the state and to the defendant. Okay? Do you have notepads? They give you some notepads? Well,
Right here.
all right, hand them some notepads if you will. These are not for doodling, but you might want to take some notes. So we're going to get your notepad. Throughout the course of the case, I will inform you at every break. You'll get tired of hearing it. Do not discuss the case among yourselves or listen to any discussion of it. That begins now. Don't talk about it with anyone. If anyone were to try to approach you, let the sheriff know about that or about it. But don't try to find out anything about the case. Don't visit where the Aubrey murder happened. Don't do anything to try to find out anything about this case outside this courtroom. Do I have your commitment to that?
Yes.
That means that as far as, social media or TV news, and I know they're going to talk about this somewhat, don't listen to it. I will also, you're under oath, of course, and I will probably ask you most of the time when you regather if you've continued to follow those instructions, and for you to raise your hand, make sure that you've done that. So we'll do that. All right, you got some notepads? Good. We call them caveat. It's one warning with regard to the taking of notes. When you get into the jury room, not only are you relieved from the obligation not to discuss the case, you have an obligation to discuss the case at that time and to determine what your verdict will be. Some of us have a tendency to see something in writing and think, well, that must be right. I hope not many of you are that way, but you need to be skeptical. Each of you, listen carefully, each of you has an obligation under your oath to determine this case for yourself. You do that only after a discussion of the case with your fellow jurors. And the same goes for the sharing of notes. It would be okay in the jury room for you to look at someone's notes if you have a question about something, but you should only do it to jog your own memory. Don't take for granted that something happened a certain way just because someone might have written it down. You decided the way you remember it. You can use it, as I say, to jog your memory, to use as a memory aid, but you decide the case for yourself based on your interpretation of the evidence in the law. All right? Any objection to or further need to pre-charge this jury from the state?
Not from the state, Judge.
From the defendant.
No, Your Honor.
All right. You ready to make your opening?
I am, Judge. Thank you, Judge. May I please? Yes. Almost 5 years ago, a woman presented. She had left the day before. She was going to visit her mom.
Oh my God.
To sometimes go visit her mom. Middle-aged woman. On a standard trip out of town a couple of days. You go visit her.
What?
It's out of town. Meets with her mom.
Yeah, this guy. Oh Lord, have mercy.
Normal night. They have dinner. Wake up the next day and they say, you know what?
This.
Good idea. It's Sunday. Let's have a little bit of a lazy Sunday. Let's go shopping. Well, around lunch. They go out. They go shopping. The plan is to kind of spend all day out.
No, you
shopping.
can't. Oh my God. Why he, oh my God, does he know he's showing the jurors?
Suddenly realize she doesn't feel very
I'm gonna tell him tomorrow.
Sometimes when somebody doesn't feel very well, they say, Mom, let's cut it off. Let's go back home.
Oh my God.
So they decided to do that.
That's the news, the local news company is the one that's videotaping this. That's the local news.
That day Sunday.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna stop this.
The young man.
I'm gonna stop it and just let y'all listen to it.
About 9.9 miles from where you sit right now. In the early afternoon hours,
No, I don't, Miss Richard, they can't blame me because I'm not the camera person. I didn't get approved for Rule 22
Trapped.
for camera. So it won't be me.
Like an animal. They work together to shoot him.
They won't be me. They can't blame me because I don't have
His name is-
a Rule 22 for camera. I have no camera that enters that courtroom.
There's a 911 call short.
That's no, I don't have no camera entering that courtroom.
The police get there a lot of the time.
Hold on, I'm trying to find a way for us to watch it and not see
The
it. Hold
responding
on.
officer knows that he doesn't have much. There's nothing. that-
What station is that? W.
Surely they're at-
Hold on a second.
And on scene are 3 suspects.
Hold on a second. W something. Hold on. Wow, I didn't even know he showed the jurors like that. Lord have mercy. This is not cool. That's not cool, y'all. That is not cool. WTOC is a station. Can it blur the video? Yeah, we got to find a way to wow, they showed the juror. That's not cool. I'm trying to find a way to let me put my my what's the name out. Okay, hold on. Gotta find a way to do this. Hold on. I'm gonna put in, hold on, we'll put in an overlay. Okay, I'm gonna put that on in and I'm gonna play it. Okay. Yeah, see that? Okay. Y'all can't see it, right? I'm gonna play it while y'all can't see it, okay?
They are Greg McMichael, Travis McMichael, and Roddy McBride. Even shortly after that, they discovered that there's a video that day.
Can y'all hear it? Can y'all hear it?
Police obtain that video, get a copy of it. While they're on scene,
Y'all can't
they
hear it?
watch the video. That woman still lies on that couch many miles.
I was like, wait a minute. I know y'all can hear it because I can hear it.
As police begin to rope off the scene, investigate the shooting, and figure out what to do. One of the suspects, named Greg McMichael, makes a phone call. Makes his first phone call, tries to call his wife. She doesn't answer. And then his second.
Sorry,
phone
guys.
call,
I got to play it like this because the camera guy showed the
has
jurors.
not spoken to since he retired.
Okay, I think he moved it now. Hold on. We're going to take it off.
For many months.
All right, he moving it now.
That person
Hold on.
is sitting in the courtroom today.
Hold on, y'all. He moved it.
It was the district attorney.
Wow.
Johnson, the chief law enforcement officer. And the
Okay.
chief prosecutor
There it is now. He moved it.
of this county.
Somebody must have told him.
For a long time, as her chief investigator. And he calls her and leaves her a voice requesting help. I need help. And that woman still lies on that couch, trying to feel a little bit better. Many miles. Police continue to investigate. They take the 3 suspects down to the police department. When they take the 3 suspects down to the police department, at the same time, there's a flurry of phone calls going on between district attorney employees.
I wonder what made him show
Figuring
it.
out something is going on. And our recent former coworker, Greg McMichael, was involved. There was a shooting. They're trying to figure out what happened. And that woman still lies on the couch, many miles away, not feeling. Finally, late in the afternoon, the woman lying on the couch. Her phone rings. It's an unknown call. And that woman is Wanda Cooper Jones. It's a mom. She picks up the phone and she says hello. On the other end is a police officer from the Boone County Police Department. He tells her, I'm at the front door, ma'am. Are you here? She says, no, I'm out of town. Why? he tells her in a very short way, ma'am, I'm sorry to have to tell you, but your son's dead. You're shot during the home invasion, during a burglary gone wrong, and he was killed during a home invasion. This one of us, thank you, and hangs up and goes and tells her mom.
Yes, Allie, that's the one the steel is on.
Killed during a home.
Guys, I'm trying not to talk while we watch this, okay? Y'all can ask me questions afterward.
Meanwhile, the defendant, Jackie Johnson, is on the phone with her coworkers, figuring out what is going on. And you're going to find out through the testimony of various prosecutors and other folks that immediately everybody knew that there was a conflict of interest. You're going to hear from multiple prosecutors, including one named Rocky Bridges, that immediately knew that there was a conflict of interest. And when we say a conflict of interest, it's a legal term in prosecution and in criminal world. And I'm going to get to that in just a few minutes, what it means, how it works, and the procedure that goes on with that. But just for the moment, know that everybody knew there was a conflict. But these suspects are being brought downtown. And you're going to hear that Greg McMichael, the person that used to be Jackie Johnson's chief investigator, didn't really worry about anything when he was at the police department. He was just involved in murder. And he's not worried. He's cool, not worried about a thing. The only concern that Greg McMichael has is because he's worried about his son. Not because the son's going to be charged with crime. You're going to find out the reason why he is concerned. He's concerned with the mental health of his son, Travis McMichael. Not concerned about being charged with a crime. That same day, not a concern at all. In the meantime, there's a phone call that occurs between Jackie Johnson and a person named George Barnhill. George Barnhill was the district attorney of the Waycross Judicial Circuit. Now you're going to hear a testimony about judicial circuit. In the state of Georgia, we now have 51 judicial circuits. On February 23rd of 2020, we only had 49. A few of you may know that there are 159 counties in the state of Georgia. But there are only 49 judicial circuits. Some judicial circuits have more than one county, and the district attorney covers more than one county. This is one of them. Glenn County is the biggest county, but there are 5 counties that Brunswick Judicial Circuit or Glenn County DA, same person, used to be Jackie Johnson, covers. To the west of the Brunswick Circuit is the Waycross Judicial Circuit, and that's where George Barnhill was elected as the district attorney. George Barnhill has a son. We're going to hear from him as well. His name is also George. The son is George F. Barnhill. The district attorney is George E. Barnhill. An easy way you may remember that. Remember just alphabet. E comes first, F comes second. So George F. Barnhill is an assistant district attorney for Jackie Johnson. And it's going to be relevant later on in the trial why he works for Jackie. And he got his job fresh out of law school with the district attorney's office here in Glenn County with Jackie Johnson, because later on he's going to be a part of this case. And he's going to testify in front of you as to some of the phone calls that occurred during this case and what they were about. But Jackie calls George Barnhill. And she says, District Attorney Barnhill calls the older Barnhill, as we might call him. Some call him senior. He's not technically a senior because they have different middle names, but calls District Attorney Barnhill, the older Barnhill, and says, I have an emergency. I need you to come look at this case. And George Barnhill is going to tell you that he told her, I am busy, I'm swamped, I've got a lot going on. I don't have time to look at the case. Jackie tells him, the defendant tells him, I need you here now. This is an emergency. And you're going to hear from other witnesses that say that there was no emergency, that there was not an emergency at all for that to be handled. So George Barnhill, the person next door, says, okay, come look. I'll be there in the morning. So he arrives the next day, Monday. He goes into a room with another assistant district attorney firm that he brought with him, named Michelle McIntyre, and they meet with the Clinton County Police Department. Inside that room, they have a long meeting. They watch the video. And there, George Barnhill, in that meeting, after watching the video and hearing from the police department, says, the shooting's justified. The only thing I need to do is real quick look at the autopsy, but this shooting's justified. We don't need to do anything about it. There's no crime. Is what George Barnhill said. But he didn't have that authority at that. And the reason why is because in the state of Georgia, if you have a conflict of interest as the district attorney, you have to follow a certain procedure that is outlined by law. You're going to learn about that procedure. That the district attorney must issue a letter. And that letter at the time had to go to the Attorney General's office. Now it goes to a different agency called Prosecuting Attorneys Council. But at the time, it would go to the Attorney General's office. And in those letters, you had to declare a conflict. And then the reason that it was done was because a separate independent agency could make a determination as to who was in the case. Now, at the time, because there were so many conflicts that came in, there was kind of a little bit of an agreement. Then a lot of times the DAs would call nearby and say, "Hey, I've got a case. I briefly spoke to the nearby DA, and they said they could take a look at it, but they just know what it's about, nothing else. They know the charge. They know why I had a conflict. Outside of that, that's it." You're going to hear from witness after witness that says, "But you know what you can't do? Call somebody, have them evaluate the case, have them make the decision, then call up and have it assigned to that person." Because you're going to find out from those folks, from those other prosecutors, from the current head of Prosecuting Attorneys Council, that the reason you cannot do that is because that person that has the conflict is effectively making that decision. It's an indirect. That's exactly what Jackie Johnson did. Meanwhile, Mom hasn't heard anything. She sits in silence, thinking of her son. Still a burglar killed in the middle of a rock. And that Saturday, following Mom's death, she buries her son at the rock. Not someone who was shot down in the street in Glenn County, got 3 murders. She hears nothing from the district attorney's office. Only hears through the news and through somebody else that George Barnhill has this case. No one has told her ever whatsoever that the district attorney's office here didn't have the case. No one told her that George Barnhill had already looked at it. And no one told her that Jackie had asked George Barnhill to look at it and that he had said, "This is justified, I just need to review the autopsy." Not a single person did that. No one. So she calls the Attorney General's office and gets in touch with a person named Karen Crittenden. Karen Crittenden was a paralegal. She's retired now. You're going to hear from her. She primarily handled those conflicts. Spoke to Jackie on the phone. Jackie says, "Yeah, there's this conflict." And she says, "I spoke to Barnhill. He said he's willing to take the case." And she says nothing, absolutely nothing about the fact that he's already reviewed it. He's already made a decision in that room with the police department. And you're going to hear from multiple prosecutors who have said that would have been a problem. Because you can't make a decision. You cannot have someone make that decision for you. You can't do that. That information would have been critical. You will hear that that information would have been critical to that decision making. Meanwhile, Ms. Wanda Cooper Jones finally has to herself get up and call someone. She finally calls the Wade prosecutors because no one has reached out to her. No one has called her, even though the law requires. No one has called her to tell her. No one. And her son lies dead in the ground, still as a rock. They called one of the suspects, told one of the suspects what's going on. The suspects asked for help. Barnhill's made a decision, and Ms. Wanda is still in the dark, trying to figure out, give them an answer as to what is going on. She still has nothing. Nothing. finally, so Karen Crittenden, paralegal, excuse me, Ms. Crittenden signed the paperwork, thinking that everything is on the up and up, and sends it back and gets George Barnhill to take the case. He takes it, says this is justified, but after much consternation, for lack of a better term, public uproar, he said, you know what, public uproar, I'm going to get out of this case. And he publicly said, I'm recusing my office. Barnhill then does something, and he writes a private letter to a person by the name of Tom Jump. Tom Jump was an investigator with Glenn County Police Department, and he writes a private letter to Tom Jump that says this thing's justified, and they stick it in the file. You'll see that now. Barnhill's going to tell you about it. He's going to tell you about why he did it. Eventually, that case is reassigned to a different district attorney by the name of Tom Durden. Mr. Durden has passed away, and you're going to find out he passed away. And since then. But Mr. Durden takes the case shortly, realizes he doesn't have it, and finally reassigned to the district attorney. Where you're going to hear from one of their prosecutors. You're going to hear about the correct way that you talk to victims and the way that you handle victims. Mr. Marcus are not in the dark about what's going on. So that someone like the district attorney can't slide something under the radar, withhold information, and have a case decided for her on her behalf. Because she chose George Barnhill to decide this. She chose him, and she intentionally withheld information so that nobody would know that George Barnhill had decided the case. And that was critical. George Barnhill had already decided the case. Because he decided on Monday, the day after the shooting, Jackie Johnson did not reflect on the case until Wednesday for the first time. 2 days after. 2 days after. You're going to hear details, Bill, and I want you to pay close attention to the timeline. I promise you this, you're going to hear a lot about the timeline. The most critical part of the timeline I want you to pay attention to is when the shooting happens, the phone calls go back and forth, and you're going to find out what some of these phone calls are about. Particularly the phone call when Mr. Barnhill decides to get out of the case, because you're going to find out what happens. What happens? We see when George Barnhill Jr., George Barnhill Sr., they talk. What do they talk about? George Barnhill Sr. tells his son, who works for Jackie, keep in mind, I'm recusing out of this case. I'm getting out. Who do we think that George Barnhill Jr. called immediately? Jackie Johnson. And what did Jackie Johnson do? First thing, she hangs up and immediately calls murder suspect Greg McMichael, who then hangs up and immediately calls murder suspect Travis McMichael. And they played a little game of telephone, passing the information back and forth about what's going on, about Ahmaud's case. Who's not informed about this? Miss Wanda. This is a case about victims' rights. The Georgia Constitution and the law in Georgia provides victims' rights. You're going to find out about those. A lot of folks don't know about them. You're going to find out about them. Then in the Bill of Rights of the state of Georgia, under the rights of the person, victims have rights too. Victims have rights too. They're going to be read to you. You're going to read them. You're going to hear prosecutors talk about victims' rights too. And you're going to hear them talk about what you have to do. And you're also going to hear about what Ms. Wanda was not given in that case, what Mr. Marcus was not given in that case. That instead, the defendant, Jackie Johnson, put the interests of her chief investigator as a victim, that is a crime victim. That is the core about this case, that she put the interests of her former chief investigator, longtime chief investigator, and her friend ahead of the victim that has the rights also. As a prosecutor, took the rights of the defendant, or put the interest of her former co-worker that is a murder suspect. The prosecutor put those ahead of the victim. That's what this case is about. You're going to see, pay attention to the timeline, that she gave the case to Barnhill. Barnhill made his decision. Once he made his decision, then and only then did she call up and say, Barnhill, take this case. You can't do that. You're going to find out you can't do that. At the end of this case, whether it's in a week, 2 weeks, whatever it is, you're going to be sure of it. And I'm going to ask you to come back and find this defendant guilty. Thank you all.
Thank you, Ms. Fowler. Mr. Steele? Are you ready?
Not Aubrey should be alive. His life, his murder, his memory cannot be tarnished with untruths. Jackie is charged with a 2-count bill of indictment. First count charges a violation of her oath of office as district attorney because she showed favoritism to Gregory McMichael. Count 2 is obstruction of an officer. That because of that favoritism, Gregory McMichael, she stopped the arrest of his son Travis McMichael. She stopped Stephanie Lowry, and Stephanie Oliver from arresting Travis McMichael for the murder of Ahmaud Arbery. That is untruthful. Jackie is innocent. Here are the facts. It's Sunday, February 23rd, 2020. It's about 1:13 in the afternoon. 911 call goes out. Ahmaud Arbery laying, don't pull the blood, a short distance from right here in this court. He is murdered. Law enforcement from the Glenn County Police Department arrived at the scene. They're there instantly. Police officer heard gunshots. The police officers watched the video that all of you have probably seen. It went viral months later. The police see it right there at the scene. An officer at 1:35, it's only 23 minutes after the 911 call goes out, is asked by Greg McMichael, "You're going to handcuff Travis, my son, for shooting, killing Ahmaud Arbery." And the officer said, "Why would we put him in cuffs?" That was the Glenn County Police Department at the scene. (2:14) that day, minute after the 911 call goes out, Greg McMichael calls Jackie. She does not answer. Greg McMichael then calls Bill Darris. He is an investigator with the Glenn County District Attorney's Office. Used to work with Greg McMichael. Speaks for 2 minutes and explains what's going on. Bill Darris immediately calls Jackie. They speak. Jackie's told what's going on. And Jackie does nothing. She's nearby. She doesn't drive to the Tiller Shore. She doesn't make any phone calls on behalf of Gregory McMichael. Gregory McMichael, Travis McMichael, Mr. Bryan, the third person, they're not taken to the Glenn County Police Department. No one's handcuffed. Gregory McMichael drives himself. Mr. Bryan drives himself. Travis McMichael is driven by law enforcement without any handcuffs. And he speaks in an interview with a gentleman with the Glenn County Police Department who informs him at 4:06 that afternoon, informs Travis McMichael, you're going home. There's no arrest. That has nothing to do with Jackie or any person in her office. You will learn that she did not stop anyone from being arrested. That is untrue. About an hour, 5 minutes later, at 5:11 that afternoon, an hour, 5 minutes after, police officer Nohilly tells Travis McMichael, you're going home. For the first time, District Attorney Office member is contacted by the Glenn County Police Department. That is Stephanie Oliver. She calls an assistant district attorney. They work underneath Jackie when she was the elected district attorney. It's Liberty Stewart. She's a lawyer. Stephanie Oliver speaks to Liberty Stewart for about 4 minutes. And explains what's going on. Just like Mr. Fowler said, this is a burglary in progress. What they said about him, he's burglarized. Gets into a confrontation with Travis McMichael. There's a struggle over a gun. The gun discharges, and it's a justifiable killing. That's said right away by the Glenn County Police Department. But the police want a prosecutor to look at the video. They have some questions. And Liberty Stewart said, this involves Greg McMichael's son being labeled a victim. Travis McMichael, the Glenn County Police Department, saying he was victimized, almost died. Liberty Stewart said, I don't know. We worked with the father for years. He used to work with your agency, the Glenn County Police Department. You will learn that Rod Nohilly asked his co-workers, why are we doing this case? We should give it over to the GBI. That's all the Glenn County Police. That has nothing to do with Jackie. Liberty Stewart then calls Jackie. She can't get in touch with Jackie. So Liberty Stewart then calls Rocky Bridges. You'll see him. Nice fellow. He's a lawyer. He's a prosecutor. the prosecutor at that time to Jackie's office. The prosecutor now in the next circuit. And explains the same thing. Rocky Bridges called back Liberty Stewart, no answer. Eventually, Jackie calls Liberty Stewart because she's getting this call. And Jackie says, yeah, I know about it. Bill Darris told me hours ago. There's nothing we can do. But Jackie's told the police want the video. There's a video to be looked at and questioned. They have some questions. They say it's justifiable shooting. And Jackie said, we're not going to watch this video or answer their question. But the police are saying they need a prosecutor. Jackie said, that's fine. I could be with somebody from our office because she's doing the ethical thing of confidence. He's saying, I don't feel comfortable. We've worked with him for so many years. It's his son. So she calls George E. Barnhill. She can't get him. Jackie can't get him on the phone. Jackie then calls George F. Barnhill. He's a prosecutor, the son of George E. Barnhill. He's an assistant district attorney working at Jackie's office. And she tells him, I'm trying to get in touch with your dad. I can't get him. Is there a way you can get him? Call your mom, maybe. The police have questions in the video to watch. I'm not going to do it. Our office is not going to do it. George F. Barnhill eventually calls back Jackie at 5:49. Jackie tells him exactly what she knew. The police say it's a justifiable killing. It's a burglary in progress. There's a video of it, but it involves our former employee. Greg McMichael retired at Valley 9 months before. February 23rd, 2020. Jack Dog. George E. Barnhill agrees. Go the next day after court with Michelle McIntyre to the Glynn County Police Department. That's all Jackie did. Jackie never seen the video. On Sunday, February 23rd, 2020. The chief of police at that time in Glynn County was a man named John Howell. And he was telling people, he was telling the lawyer for the county, telling commissioners, this was a justifiable killing. Back then. It was a good shot. Nobody was arrested. Travis McMichael from the Glynn County Police Department, including Stephanie Oliver, Stefan Lauer. Jackie could not stop the arrest of anyone. That is untrue. The next day is Monday, February 24th of 2020. And in the morning hours, George E. Barnhill and his co-worker, Michelle McIntyre, drive over to the Glynn County Police Department. They met that morning. You will learn that they watched the murder video. George E. Barnhill will tell you, I had more questions. I wasn't necessarily agreeing 100% with the police that it was justifiable, but I was very heavily leaning that way. But I wanted to have more information. I wanted to hear recordings. I wanted to get a 911 recording. I wanted to get it enhanced. I wanted to read the autopsy. I wanted to do more work. Jackie is in this courthouse. At that moment, that day, for the next 4 days, Monday, February 24th of 2020, for 4 days throughout that Thursday, Jackie is presenting a case against the Glynn County Police Department chief. A criminal case. She's moving for an indictment of the chief of police. She was committing political suicide. But she is bringing charges against the chief of police and other high-ranking members of the Glynn County Police Department. And because of that, there were a lot of Glynn County police officers in and around the area where Jackie was, with the grand jury. And Jackie overheard, she's not part of the conversation, but she overheard the prosecutor on Travis McMichael's victimization when he had to kill the home invader. That prosecutor came this morning, has more questions. He wants to see the autopsy. He wants to see more evidence. So Jackie realized at that time, it's Monday, late afternoon, Georgie Barnhill's doing work on this. I just asked him, which is her duty to answer questions of the police. That is a statutory duty you will find. I just asked him to answer the police officer's question. Now he's going to be seeking information. So Jackie realizes, I'm going to tell the Attorney General that they need to appoint a prosecutor of the police. I have a question. This is going to be going through some sort of investigation. Ladies and gentlemen, Jackie does not know. She does not find out that Georgie Barnhill met with the Glynn County Police Department along with Michelle McIntyre, that Georgie Barnhill told them that initially he concurs with the police officer's position of justifiable killing. Jackie was never told. Jackie, next day, or that night, rather, Monday evening, about 7:39, calls back. You remember the day before? Greg McMichael, about an hour and a minute after the 911 call, calls Jackie. Jackie doesn't answer his call. He sees his call. She answers Bill Barrett's call moments later, and Jackie doesn't call back Greg McMichael either. But the next night, she sees his voice message. And voice message is saved, you'll hear it. And Jackie calls Greg McMichael and said, I heard about your son. He was almost killed. I'm so sorry. Hope everything's all right. I understand it was a home invasion. Hope everything is okay. Jackie's under the belief that Greg McMichael's son is the victim. Tuesday, February 25th, Jackie asked her coworker, her name is Vicki Moore, worked at the district attorney's office. They need to prepare a letter to go to Chris Carr. Christopher Carr, at that time and today, is the Attorney General for the state of Georgia. And explain that he needs to appoint another prosecutor, because this involves a former investigator with our office into the death, God forbid, but not all. Jackie sends that letter through Vicki Moore. You'll see the letter. Jackie does not recommend Georgie Barnhill. He does not choose George E. Barnhill. Jackie just says to the Attorney General, my office is not going to answer the police officer's questions. They have a question. The death investigation, there is a deadline. This is serious. Jackie doesn't recommend anybody. Let's see the letters. That letter goes out the next morning, February 20, so Wednesday, February 26, 2020. So Jackie asked Vicki Moore to do the letter Tuesday. It's now Wednesday morning when Vicki Moore sent the letter. It's 9:19 via email. And she sent it to a gentleman named David McLaughlin. David McLaughlin, at that time for 23 years, worked in the Attorney General's office, very high position in the office. And he handled conflict. He would assign a non-conflicted prosecutor to take over a matter, look into a matter for a prosecutor who didn't want to do the case, couldn't do the case for whatever reason. Unbeknownst to Jackie, on the 13th of February of 2020, so 13 days before, February 26th, David McLaughlin was removed from that position. He was on his way out. He was leaving the Attorney General's office. So Jackie doesn't hear back from the Attorney General's office. And then it's Thursday, the next day, February 27, 2020. And Vicki Moore at 10:48 that morning sent out the same exact letter, but this time to the correct person, the new person. Her name is Blair McGowan. She took over at that time for David McLaughlin's position of conflict. And it's copied, CC, to a woman named Karen Crittenden. She's been there about 34 years. She's retired since the Attorney General's office, but she really handled the conflict. This is an administrative matter for the Attorney General. They're just making a point. That's what they do. You'll hear about it from them. Chris Carr, the Attorney General of the state of Georgia, he appoints Georgie Barnhill to the death investigation. Now, you will hear from Karen Crittenden, and she will tell you that she had conversations with Jackie Johnson on February 27, 2000, Thursday, as well separately with Georgie Barnhill by telephone. And she will tell you this was routine. I kept no notes of the conversations. I did not record the conversations. I didn't do a memo on the conversation. This did not become an issue for months. And she will tell you, I've asked Jackie, what's going on with this conflict? And Jackie said, it's my former investigator, son. That's already in the letter. There's no reason for that phone call to be made. Karen Crittenden also says recently Jackie told me also that Georgie Barnhill was already working the case. Karen Crittenden said, I spoke with Georgie E. Barnhill, and he told me that he's willing to take the case to work on it. And she said that another time he also told me that he's already worked the case that was approved. Karen Crittenden testified to her in about September 2021 before the grand jury in this case. She testified via Zoom. It was COVID. And there's a court report there. And that court reporter takes down the testimony of witnesses who testified before the grand jury. That court reporter was not asked to take down Karen Crittenden's testimony by the Attorney General who presented the case against Jackie. We have no idea what Karen Crittenden told the grand jury of her memo in September 2021, what Jackie supposedly said. Jackie did nothing wrong. Chris Carr appoints Georgie E. Barnhill. He mailed that appointment. He sent it in U.S. mail. However long it took to get there, it took. Nobody knows. Georgie E. Barnhill, on Thursday, February 27, 2020, he contacted Ahmaud Arbery's mother. Ms. Wanda Cooper Jones. And his office does, and advised that they're waiting on the autopsy report. During that week of the murder of Ahmaud Arbery, Ms. Wanda Cooper Jones called the Attorney General's office for help. No help was coming. It's now Friday, February 28th of 2020. Jackie speaks with Mark Spalding, the co-worker of hers at the district attorney's office here. And Mark Spalding calls Gregory Michael. That's to alert him that Georgie Barnhill has been appointed to take over the death investigation. Not all, there's nothing wrong. There's absolutely nothing wrong. At that time, Jackie's out of case. The former co-worker is public information. And to her knowledge, Gregory Michael at that time, his family. Wednesday, March 4th of 2020. It is now 10 days after Ahmaud Arbery's slaughter. It is 10 days. Ahmaud Arbery's father and others unimaginable. They're hearing nothing. So some of the leaders of this county who know Mr. Arbery contact Jackie and ask Jackie, you meet the mother. Jackie said, of course. She knows their son was killed. And Jackie meets with Ahmaud Arbery's father, the uncle, other members of this community, and explains, I don't know anything about the case. I'm not doing the case. I don't read reports. I haven't seen the video that I know exists. I'm not speaking with the investigators. But your son was taken from us, and explains the process of the criminal justice system and the rights of victims' families. She explains that George E. Barnhill has the case. The next day is Thursday, March 5th, 2020. Now 11 days after the slaughter of Ahmaud Arbery, and Ms. Cooper Jones calls Liberty Stewart. If you remember, Liberty Stewart works with Jackie's office for the prosecutor. And Liberty Stewart recounts. She's in the meeting the day before with Ahmaud Arbery's father, Jackie, and the uncle and others. Recounts what Ms. Cooper Jones did not hear. Ms. Cooper Jones then calls the Attorney General's office. They refer her to Georgie Barnhill. It's Friday, March 6th of 2000. Ahmaud Arbery's mother calls Georgie Barnhill's office. All she wants is help. What's going on? Need information. There's nothing to do with Jackie. Sunday, March 8th, 2020. And there's an article that comes in the Brunswick News, and it explains that Jackie is drawing competition for the district attorney's office election that will be held later that year. 7:15 that evening, Gregory Michael calls Jackie. They speak for 13 minutes on the next day. March 9th, 2020. So you had competition for DA. We support you, anything we can do. Monday, March 30th now, 2020. This is 36 agonizing days since the murder of Ahmaud Arbery. 3 months since their son was slain. And Miss Cooper Jones calls the Waycross Circuit District Attorney's Office and tells them, that's what George E. Barnhill did. Hey, I'm aware that George E. Barnhill's son, George F. Barnhill, works with Jackie's office. And George F. Barnhill is Facebook friends with Greg McMichael. I don't like it. I'm getting no information. I can't sleep. I want you off the case. She tells George E. Barnhill. The next day, which is Tuesday, March 31, 2020, Ms. Cooper Jones doing what she can do, what she should do. She's fighting for her son. She knows her son. There's no burglary here. She knows her son was taken from her, and people are hiding the evidence. It's Tuesday, March 31, 2020. She calls the Attorney General of the state of Georgia, Chris McCarr's office, and informs them, you need to remove George E. Barnhill from this case involving my son's investigation because he's friends with Greg McMichael. No assistance from the Attorney General's office. It's Wednesday, April 1, 2020. The medical examiner completed the autopsy, God forbid, of Ahmaud Arbery. He reduces his findings to a report. The report was completed on April 1, 2020. And ladies and gentlemen, Compton, you remember, it's now well into COVID. COVID hit the month before, and everybody shut down. George E. Barnhill, you remember, wanted to look at the autopsy report. It is now ready. Thursday, April 2nd, 2020, the Brunswick News sent a story. Part of the police report made public by Glenn County Police Department. And they read a story about it. The police report sheds light on Satilla Shore's shooting. That morning, 8:38 a.m., Mark Spalding is calling Jackie to tell her about the article. At 8:43, Jackie calls George E. Barnhill. Hey, the case that you're doing, there's information now in the newspaper about it. Jackie doesn't get in touch with George E. Barnhill. He calls her back, and that's the conversation later that day. That's it. She's just advising. Jackie has done nothing with her finger on the scale of justice. She has no information. She has not done anything wrong. It's now Friday, April 3rd in 2020. And the Justice League United makes a Facebook post. And it's that people should get together and march in front of the home of the McMichael killer. It's 5:50 that evening. The District Attorney George E. Barnhill emails a letter to Tom Jump, the Glenn County Police Department. And you'll hear he said that Tom Jump, the Glenn County Police Department high-ranking official, said, we have a new acting chief because the other chief was indicted. And the new chief, named Jay Wiggins, the acting chief, wants to understand this case. So you, George E. Barnhill, can you write a summation about the case? And George E. Barnhill writes a letter. And the letter states that this is a justifiable killing. That he believes it's justifiable killing. But he's going to recuse himself. Recuse is another way of saying remove himself from the case. Because the mother has accused him of being friends with Greg McMichael. Also, what George E. Barnhill knows is at this point, there's a feeling of unrest about the case. The community is coming together. The community is doing what it should do. They're demanding answers. Facebook is going around saying, we're going to march. His son is getting threats. His son's name is so close to George E. Barnhill that there was a mistake made on social media, and his son's house address was given out. His son is married with a newborn baby at that time. George E. Barnhill's like, I'm done. My mother wants me out. My son's getting threats. So he writes a justifiable killing letter, but explains, but I'm not going to be the prosecutor anymore. I'm going to get out of this case. That's what he writes to Tom Jump. 6:26 that evening, George F. Barnhill calls Jackie and explains, I'm in danger. This is the child, the person who works for Jack's office. People are going to be marching on my house. Jackie calls the then acting chief of police, Jay Wiggins, right after that phone call at 6:31. Friday, April 3rd, 2020, that there are these threats being made. Jackie Johnson calls George F. Barnhill back, said the chief is going to give you security. They put a pole camera outside his home. They put a police car outside his home. Jackie calls Greg McMichael, doesn't get him, 6:52, and Greg McMichael returns Jackie's call. They speak for 4 minutes, and Jackie said, there may be a march on your home. You may be in danger. That's what Jackie is doing. She is being the person she needs to be. As the district attorney of York County, she is trying to protect people. She's done nothing wrong. That's his phone call that the Honorable Mr. Fowler talked about in the opening statement. I'm giving you the context, the date. You're seeing every record. You'll hear what every call was about. You don't have to imagine. Monday, April 6th, 2020. You will learn that Jackie was sent a copy of the Friday, April 3rd, 2020, justified killing recusal letter of George E. Barnhill, but Jackie doesn't read that until that Monday morning. And she can't believe it. You will learn that she's like, what do you do? You're getting out of a case, yet you're giving an opinion it's justifiable killing. And Jackie knows people at Glynn, some of the people at Glynn County Police Department, they're going to dispense that to the public. And if George E. Barnhill is getting out of the case, why is he writing an opinion letter that's justifiable killing? So that morning at 9:14, April 6th, 2020, Monday, Jackie calls George E. Barnhill and says exactly that. What do you do? Why would you do that? Jackie calls George F. Barnhill, the son. Jackie calls Mark Spalding, speaks about it. She calls George F. Barnhill, the son, again. He calls Jay Wiggins, Mark Spalding calls Jackie, Jackie calls Liberty Stewart, Mark Spalding calls Jackie calls Greg McMichael. What do you think that letter is going to do when it becomes public? There's already this groundswell of marches and potential God forbid violence. This is not going to help. This is throwing a match to the gasoline. Jackie knows that this is going to be a problem, and she warns Gregory Michael. There's this letter that finds your son was justified in the killing of Ahmaud Arbery, God forbid, which is meaningless, by the way, because George Barnhill is getting out of the case, so his opinion doesn't matter. And there's already threats. You have to be aware. This is dangerous. That happened at 11:04. At 11:30, Jackie was calling Mark Spalding because Jackie said, I need to meet with Ahmaud Arbery's father. He can't learn about this letter from the meeting. I need to tell him about this letter, and I need to tell him that the letter has no weight because George E. Barnhill is getting off the case. So it's going to go to a new prosecutor who's not going to, shouldn't look at that letter and make their own determination. So Jackie meets with Ahmaud Arbery's father and others in the community and explain George E. Barnhill at the case, and you're going to hear about the justifiable killing letter. His opinion is irrelevant. That's what Jackie Tuesday, April 7th, 2020, and the Justice League United puts a state of emergency post on Facebook with Jackie's face on it. Jackie's face. George E. Barnhill and the McMichaels, his captain, wanted for murder. Now, there's a mistake in it, because the photograph is not George E. Barnhill. They put his son's photograph. But that's what it states. At 2:45 that day, and again, this is April 7th, Tuesday, April 7th, 2020, 2:54 rather. Ms. Cooper Jones, Ms. Ahmaud Arbery's mother, calls the Attorney General's office and wants to discuss the reassignment of her son's case because she's aware George E. Barnhill is getting off the case. The call is not returned by the Attorney General's office. At 8:32 that evening, George E. Barnhill, the father, emails a letter to Blair McGowan. You may remember her. She took over for David McLaughlin, the conflicts, and Karen Crittenden, who's been doing it for 34 years. He's the power leader, saying that he has a conflict. He's getting off. He also explains in that letter, but I've done all my work, organized the file, and I have all my findings in the file. Gerald doesn't say, whoa, we don't need your findings if you're confident. We don't want them. That's nothing. There's nothing. It's now April 13th, to Monday, 2020. This is 10 days after April 3rd, 2020, when all the threats are going on. 10 days that this city is potentially going to erupt. Jackie meets with then Acting Chief Jay Wiggins, along with the NAACP, the pastors, great pastors of this community, and they discuss the fact that this has to be transparent. Information has to be flowing. People need answers. They're entitled to answers. And any potential violence must be stopped. It's not about more violence. Now, Jackie's not involved in the case. She's just trying to do what she should be doing under her duty that she took an oath to do. Serve this community. The Attorney General on April 13th of 2020 is Chris Carr. 6 days after getting that email to appoint a new prosecutor, he then appoints Tom Dirty, the late Tom Dirty. He was the elected district attorney in the Atlantic Circuit, above George E. Barnhill Circuit, Liberty County. He was involved in that circuit. The Attorney General's office knew they got a letter. They don't give any hesitation that George E. Barnhill already been finding self-defense. Give that whole file to the Dirty. It's Tuesday, April 14th of 2000. Jackie and then acting chief of the Blaine County Police Department, Jay Wiggins, they send out a press release together. Keep the peace. Transparency will occur, and Tom Dirty is now handling this case. The next day, Wednesday, April 15, 2020, Jackie says, we got to get Tom Dirty's office this file. It's COVID. Every office is closed. Jackie sends Bill Darris, the investigator, Greg McMichael called when he didn't get in touch with Jackie from David Madoff's murder, to get the file from George E. Barnhill's office and physically bring it to Tom Dirty. Jackie, the investigation goes forward. He's not stopping anything. Thursday, April 16th of 2020. Greg McMichael calls Jackie at 8:02 p.m. Does not get it. Saturday, April 18th, 2020. 8:25 p.m. Greg McMichael calls Jackie. Did not get it. No contact. Sunday, April 19th, 2020. 11:13 a.m. Jackie calls back Greg McMichael to speak for 10 minutes, and Jackie tells him Tom Dirty now has the case. He's the prosecutor on the case. Sunday, April 26, 2020. This is 63 days after Ahmaud Arbery's murder. This is 63 days. No justice, no shot. This is wrong in every way. The New York Times comes out with an article. Why no charges? Greg McMichael calls Jack. Jack, a couple hours later, calls Mark Spalding, speaks for 21 minutes. And at 9:45, Greg McMichael calls Mark Spalding and leaves a message. People are mad. This is ignited now. The New York Times, this is national. This is a national issue. Ahmaud Arbery should not have been murdered. Death investigation should not have been handled like this. And now everybody in the United States of America knows about it. And it's worldwide. What is going on? Monday, April 27, 2020, the day after the New York Times article comes out, Mark Spalding calls Greg McMichael. Jackie calls Mark Spalding that night. Jackie calls Greg McMichael that night. And Jackie said there are threats. This is dangerous. You need to leave. She still believes that Greg McMichael's family is a victim. She doesn't, that's all she knows. But there's certainly questions there. And Jackie tells Greg McMichael, he's asking a question. What do I do? What would you recommend? She said, I'm not recommending anything to you. Get a lawyer. That was her advice to him. What everybody does, go seek a lawyer. That's what we all do. That's the advice everybody gives. Jackie still has not seen the video of the murder of Ahmaud Arbery. It's Wednesday, April 29, 2020. Jackie returns a call from George E. Barnhill, 2:09 in the afternoon. And George E. Barnhill tells her, listen, I haven't been in the office much. It's COVID. But I got in, I listened to our answer machine messages, and there is a serious, specific message that George E. Barnhill tells Jackie that Greg and Michael and family are going to be killed. He needs to know that. At 3:49, Jackie calls then acting chief of police of Glynn County, Jay Wiggins, and tells him about it. At 4:02 that day, Wednesday, April 29, 2020, the 911 center, the emergency center here in this county, contacts every law enforcement agency here in this county, and they send out a blurb, a blast about the threats that are coming in because of Ahmaud Arbery's kill, his murder, against law enforcement. At 4:19, that same day, Wednesday, April 29, 2020, now retired GBI Special Agent Kelly. He received a request from GBI Special Agent Carson to open an investigation into the threats against the McMichaels, the police, anybody dealing with Ahmaud Arbery's murder, and that was started because of Chief Jay Wiggins and Jack. That's why the investigation started. Jackie's not stopping him. She's calling more law enforcement officers. April 30th, it's a Thursday, 2020. Jackie calls Greg McMichael. They speak for 21 minutes. Tells him, your life is in danger. He's asking questions. She says, get a lawyer. There are problems for you and your family. That is the last time that Jackie will ever speak with Greg McMichael. It's Friday, May 1, 2020. It's 12:53 in the afternoon. Jay Wiggins, the chief of police, acting Glynn County, emails every police department and county official that there's going to be a meeting to discuss the ongoing situation and the safety for this entire community. That's on Friday, May 1. At 6:27 that night, Friday, May 1, the Justice League United post on Facebook asking people to do a citizen's arrest of McMichael. Greg McMichael at 6:32 p.m. that day, Friday, May 1, 2020, calls Jack. These are a voicemail. Saturday, the next.
Oh, is that?
Jackie called.
I didn't do that. That was them. That wasn't me.
She called the U.S. Attorney's Office.
Yeah. Email me. Bless.
We need help here. Jackie's not trying to stop. She's trying to get help. Every one of them. Here in this county. Sunday, May 3rd, 2020. Tom Durkin calls Jackie. They speak for 6 minutes. At 5:34 p.m. Tom Durkin calls Jackie again, speaking for 2 minutes. He explains to Jackie, COVID. I need you to arrange with the judges. I need a grand jury. I'm taking the Ahmaud Arbery case to a grand jury. See if they'll indict. That Sunday, May 3rd, 2020, the Justice
Pamela,
League
stop that. You was just in the chat. You was in the room with us.
Vote Georgie Barnhill.
Pamela, I'm gonna beat your tail.
Yeah.
I mean, not Pamela, Patricia. I'm gonna beat your tail. Patricia, you know better than that. You was right in the room with us.
That's the person who's charged by and stopping the arrest of Travis McMichael. These are the facts. Monday, May 4th of 2020. And Jay Wiggins that Friday, May 1 said we have to have a community meeting about the violence. That community meeting happened. It's a tactical meeting to prepare. There's going to be marches here, protests here, which are fine. But if it gets violent, the police have to protect everyone. 7:30 p.m., Jackie calls Attorney General Chris Carr. It's 7:23 p.m. She calls him on his cell phone. Monday, May 4th, 2020. Chris Carr calls Jackie back. 9 minutes later, at 7:32 p.m., they speak for 9 minutes. Jackie explains what's going on here. We need help. No help is coming from Attorney General Christopher Paul. Tuesday, May 5th, 2020. It's 73 days since Ahmaud Arbery was able to speak with his family, jog, or eat, or smile, or laugh, or bring goodness to anybody. 73 days of agony. That video of murder was released, not by the police. The first time it's released, and it goes viral, meaning it goes all around our world. It is seen by billions of people. One of those people is Jackie Johnson. That's the first time she ever saw it. And she said, "This is murder. This is not home invasion. That was a lie. Not arrested." Jackie says, "I have voicemail on my phone from Greg McMichael. The day of the killing, he called me. That's still on my phone." Jackie has another voicemail with Greg McMichael thanking her. Great advice on getting a lawyer. She's going to run interference, and Jackie's begging him, get a lawyer. And Jackie knows that Mark Spaulding had voicemails on his phone from Greg McMichael. And Jackie, the prosecutor, and she said this could be used to prosecute the McMichael. And Jackie gets those voicemails into the hands of Investigator Moore with her office to turn it over to the GBI. That's the person that's charged with stopping the arrest of Travis McMichael. That's the person who's charged with violating her oath of office. She's giving over voluntarily evidence to use to prosecute. Because it did not take much to watch that video and see what happened. We should be alive right now. Scooter Jones was lied to after someone's involved in a home invasion and justifiable kill. Jackie was lied to. So with everybody else. You can hear countless people come in and say, Howell told me it was a good shot. I don't know what happened to George E. Barnhill, but you'll decide for yourself. I believe he's going to tell you to this day it was a good shot. You'll decide for yourself. It had nothing to do with Jackie. George E. Barnhill will tell you, Jackie never asked me to do anything for anybody. Just answer the question. The Glynn County Police Department. After that video, Jackie never returned that call from Greg McMichael. Has not spoken with him to this day. May 7th of 2020, the GBI calls up Jackie other law enforcement officers, and say we have to have a meeting. We'd like you to be there. We are seeking arrest warrants for Travis McMichael and Greg McMichael. Jackie's at that meeting. She doesn't stop anything. She doesn't inquire why. She doesn't call Greg McMichael. She never spoke to Travis McMichael. Doesn't know. After the McMichaels are arrested, Special Agent Don Whitman, GBI, informs Jackie that the McMichaels are under arrest. Count 2 of the indictment charges Jackie with stopping the arrest of Travis McMichael, telling Stephanie Oliver, she's the Gwinnett County Police Department sergeant at the time, Stephen Lowry, the Gwinnett County Police Department sergeant at the time, he's in charge of this investigation. Now he'll tell you himself, he was brand new. They put him on this case, brand new. It's not the investigation. Yeah, it's self-investigation. I had no idea what he did. Jackie is charging count 2 with stopping these officers from doing their duty of arresting Travis McMichael on or around February 23rd, 2000. So this gentleman sitting right here with the GBI, the Honorable Mr. Steinberg, Agent Steinberg, he's tasked with doing an investigation into Jackie and George E. Barnett. Talk to everyone you can. And he records the conversation. It's lawful. One party to record in the state of Georgia. Nothing wrong with it. And he speaks with Stephanie Oliver. Did Jackie Johnson stop you from arresting Travis McMichael? The answer, I tell you, it's on recording. You'll hear from Stephanie Oliver. No. Jackie didn't stop anything. I didn't even speak with him. Stephanie Oliver goes to that grand jury I told you about, that the Attorney General office had in this county, and brought in people, and certain people, their testimony was taken down.
Thank you.
They're at the podium right now doing a what's the name talk, bench conference. Listen, y'all, those who are questioning about the showing of the jurors, that was done by the local news people. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to blur them out of my face, so for their anonymity, because we tried. I didn't even, because I don't look at this stuff. I don't look at this stuff, so I have to make sure from now on before I post it to see what these people record, because I didn't think he was gonna. They're supposed to be professionals, right?
Just one quick thing, Judge. Yeah.
Hold on, they're gonna go back up there again.
Get them.
Look, I would think they would be professionals and not show the jurors. You know what I mean? So I'm not too sure of what's up with that. But when I get back, I'm going to hide it, the ones that we're looking at now, and then I'm gonna re-upload it where I have them blurred out, okay? Because it's not right that they showed them like that. It's not right. I think my Rule 22 says they deny me for camera and stuff. So that I don't have rights to the camera. So it ain't me. It ain't me. It ain't me. So, but I am going to take it because I saw somebody in here say, "Oh, y'all wrong for that for showing the juror." It wasn't me that showed the juror, man. It's the person that's doing the screen. I mean the camera. I'm not a camera person. I'm not a camera person.
All right, we're gonna pass you out some water.
Yeah, I'm gonna delete mine and because it's not right. You're not supposed to show the jurors. It's not right. It's not right at all. Can't do that to the jurors.
All right, Ms. Steele, let's move it up.
Anyone else? Anyone else? Anyone?
Thank you. You get the water at the same time.
He told Mr. Steele, "Come on, Mr. Steele, hurry up."
Steele, they can listen and get their water at the same time.
The judge tried to get through this. He doesn't like.
For the grand jury. She's asked the same question. Did Jackie or anyone with her office stop you for the Clinton County?
See, they don't act ugly like the way other places act ugly. So he's just gonna probably tap him on his hand and tell him don't do it again.
Witness will take care. The answer is no.
They probably make that mistake all the time. That's probably why they don't allow them to live stream. You know that, right? That's probably why they don't let them live
Were
stream.
anyone trying to stop you from arresting Travis McMichael? He says on recording, no. Stephen Larry goes before the grand jury, takes an oath. He's asked by the Attorney General, did Jackie or anyone else with her office stop you from arresting Travis McMichael? No. Jackie stands here before you charged with that crime, with stopping Stephanie Oliver.
Well, that's what happened. I keep saying people said condolences.
Doing your right.
Thank you, Kara.
It's not true. Yet she's charged with that. Jackie is
What happened to
2 years of age. She grew up in a small town, Bacon County, Alma, Georgia. She's the oldest of 4 children to her parents who are in New York. Her sister and 2 brothers are in New York. Being the oldest and her parents are hard working. They had a lot of land, but they were cash poor. Parents worked a lot of hours. Her father worked all the time. Her mother worked at night as a nurse. And Jackie, being 10 years of age since that time, would take care of her 8-year-old sister.
Mr. Steele just said, did he just say cash poor but have a lot of land? That ain't poor.
8 prayers.
Oh, you lost your cousin. My
Jackie's been
condolences.
working since she's been 10 years of age. At the age of 15, she watched the trial in this county. She saw a man get acquitted. She started this inferno in her person. She wanted to be a lawyer. She studied hard, graduated second from her class in high school. Went to the University of Georgia. She didn't do sorority. She didn't go
Hey,
out
PC.
and party. She wanted to go to law school. She studied. It's hard to get into law school. She was accepted to University of Georgia Law School. She graduated in 1997 and became a clerk for judges in the next county over, in the Waycross Judicial Circuit. She did that for 1 year, working with the judges as a research assistant, drafting orders. And then she met prosecutor Rick Curry. Rick Curry at that time.
You know, Steele will make you a man, anybody innocent. You know that, right? I was sitting there, I was like starting to feel sorry for her, right? From what Steele was saying.
It's working for then District Attorney, elected District Attorney Steve Kelly.
I was like, wait a minute, Sylvia, calm down.
He took her everywhere. She's the only lawyer, except for then District Attorney Kelly, who would go throughout the entire circuit trying cases. Trying the hardest cases was put on her shoulders. She dedicated herself so much to her career. She's a career woman. She gave up family, no children, no husband. In 2010, then District Attorney Steve Kelly was appointed judge in the circuit. That leaves a vacancy. And the Honorable Governor Sonny Perdue, for the first time in America's history, in this circuit, in this county, appointed a woman district attorney. That was Jackie Johnson. She broke that glass. Jackie stands before you. Charged with very serious crime. Trust you. Thank you for being here. She's waited 5 years almost. Jackie has nothing but empathy, sympathy for Ahmaud Arbery and his family. Yet she has been waiting for you for almost 5 years because she has been pulled in as the person who stopped the arrest of Travis McMichael and violated the law. Jackie is not guilty.
Thank you, Mr. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to bring you home for the evening. I know that the sheriff has made some arrangements for you. Follow those instructions. And as I told you, do not discuss the case among yourselves, nor listen to any discussion of it whatsoever. The notepads can be, you probably didn't take any notes here, but
Okay, I'm gonna end it just in case there's another boo-boo from the camera guy. So I'm gonna end it right here. So we don't want another boo-boo. We don't want another boo-boo because we don't want no mistakes at all. We don't want no mistake at all. We don't want no mistakes at all. So it's bad enough. We've got to get rid of the other one, the other boo-boo they made. The people, the camera guy. So from now on, yeah, I'm gonna have to check it before I show it to you guys because, I'm gonna have a conversation with him. I'm gonna have a conversation with him tomorrow. Like, dude, hey, you showing the people. You're not supposed to show the jurors. No jurors showing now. Come on. That's a no-no. It's a no-no. So, I did get an interview with his aunt, Aubrey's aunt. I have that. I'm gonna save that for later on. I'm gonna save all my little interviews for later on. So I have a couple of interviews, with Lee Meredith. I saw him today. Oh, I can show y'all pictures. Hold on, let me show y'all little pictures, y'all. Come on, let me share pictures with y'all. We're gonna share some pictures, some court pictures. Okay. I'm gonna share some court pictures with you guys. Okay, hold on a second. All right, hold on. I'll do it later. I'll do a collage with different people pictures. I'm gonna do it like a stream thing. And are you able to cut it out? So I'm gonna blur it out. I'm gonna blur the video out. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna just put it on private right now. As soon as I get off, I'll put it on private, and then I'll go fix it and do a upload on it. Cause these people, they'll be starting some crap later on. So we're gonna do that, okay? In the meantime, riders, let's go to the back and let me go ahead on and put this video. I'm gonna put these videos on private right now. I will see you guys in a few. Gotta edit to put it on private. I will see you guys in a few, okay? All right, putting it on private, so y'all won't be able to see it, okay? Y'all be like, what happened? I'm on private. I'm on private. All right. See y'all later. See you guys later. It's going on private. All right. It's going on private now. See you guys in a minute. Private. Peace out, people. We're going out. I see y'all later. Bye.
Thank you for watching the infamous Sylvia channel, where laughter and fun make up our panel. Together we build this digital spree. We appreciate you and our growing family. With mods by our side and chat flowing free in this online space. It's just you and me. We laugh until tears roll down like the rain. In this virtual world, you ease all my pains. We're a family, not just a show. Every click and comment makes us grow. Mods and chat, keeping the vibe so right. Together we shine like stars in the night. We cherish the moments, the highs and lows, from the latest gossip to stories untold. You're more than a viewer, you're part of the crew in this space of ours. It's all because of you. This digital world where emotion is shared, every post and reaction showing we care. The love is real in this virtual domain. With every sign, enjoys what we'll gain. We're a family, not just a show. Every click and comment makes us grow. Mods and chat, keeping the vibe so right. Together we shine like stars in the night. We're a family, not just a show. Every click and comment makes us grow. Mods and chat, keeping the vibe so right. Together we shine like stars in the night. This digital world where emotion is shared, every post and reaction showing we care. The love is real in this virtual domain. With every sign, enjoys what we'll gain. We're a family, not just a show. Every click and comment